You have somebody in a mental health crisis. What you going to do about it? Because in here, we're a big what? We're a big family. First responders, we're a big family, aren't we? The fuck we are. We ain't no family. We're not family. We like using that word because it looks good on a bumper sticker. It looks good on a t-shirt. It looks good in a hashtag. But we don't treat each other like family. I can prove this right now. You got kids? At what point as as a dad, when your children start showing all these signs and all these symptoms that something's going wrong with their mental health, at what point do you get involved as their father? The first fucking chance you got. That's how family reacts to one another. That's how family takes care of one another. We sit back and watch it happen. We sit back and watch each other circle the bull. And when it doesn't work out for one of our people, you know what we do next? When we actually end up weeding them out? What do we all do now? We talk shit about that person that couldn't handle it. And you know why we do that? To inflate our own egos. To make ourselves feel like we can handle it. We ain't no family. Be very careful when you use that word in this community. It's used way too loosely.
First time I ever experienced it for myself, it was actually during 2018. Well, a little bit before that. When I went through what I went through with my department, and for anybody who has not heard what my story was, I'll put a link in the description. I did an entire hour highlighting my entire career, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was then, probably 2016, when I experienced the first, there is no blue brotherhood. And what it was all the guys, well, most of the guys, I'll just say this, in my agency at the time, wanted me to write a letter of no confidence in the chief of police and submit it to the mayor, which I did. I wrote the letter. When it came down time to getting them to sign it, well, not one would sign it. Nobody, they all refused to. They were all terrified to sign it. So I slid the letter under the door, and then obviously what happened to me. And weeks later, while I was on suspension, I had gotten word that one of the other officers who was in cahoots with the chief and the brass, she had written a letter of confidence in the chief. And all but 2 cops signed it. And all of them who did sign it were ones who wanted me to vote or to write the letter of no confidence. And I'd never known betrayal on that level before. I had known betrayal with dating and heartbreak and even friends with some circumstance, but never when it came down to law enforcement, the brothers in blue. It was the first eye-opening ever. A lot of people ask, not a lot in my comment section, when did you get so bitter? When did you get so jaded? Well, you hate police. That was the moment. That was the moment as I stuck my neck out for everybody who had been massively in pain, hurting, and complaining, and they just left me out to dry. It was what it was. It took a long time to come to terms with it, but I have. The second time that I experienced it on a level that was unmatched was when I decided to run for sheriff in 2018. Cook County, where Chicago is, I made the decision I'm going to run for sheriff. I wanted to do something big and bold in my life. And before then, right up until that point, my brand, Officer Dominick Izzo, was being involved in such incredible things. I did a couple of documentaries I did one with the BBC. I did a pilot TV show with MTV with Rel Battle. I got to do a bunch. I was doing interviews left and right. And when I left, when they suspended me, the day they suspended me, I'll never forget, I had people calling, still the same guys who screwed me over, called me and said, hey, the phones of the department were just ringing off the hook today. They actually took the phone off the hook in the department and the village hall. And I thought this was so badass. The public loves what I was standing up for. And I found some old texts of people who sent me screenshots of their emails they wrote to the mayor. And that was great. And it was all from citizens, people from across the country, from different states. And it meant something to me. But the moment I announced I was running for sheriff, every cop across America who got involved with me, who never DM'd me, there was only one person actually, and I'll give him credit to this day, there was only one cop in America who, the day that I wound up getting fired and I started my journey, who reached out to me to ask if I needed anything and if I was okay, was Officer Daniels. He's the only one. No other cop did. But at the time, when I announced I was running for sheriff and I thought these other cops in my own area, in the county, across the nation are going to see that I'm fighting for them. Not a fucking chance. I had never experienced so much the crab in the bucket theory. It's insane when you try to improve yourself as a cop. If you're a police officer, you know that most of my videos are spent shitting on you. The bad. I don't believe in hiding the bad of what you do. I believe in public shaming because you're big boys and girls, so that you'll see what you're doing and go, fuck, I don't ever want to be featured on one of Izzo's videos. You know, a lot of the times, most 99% of my content, the people who can't stand what you're doing, the citizens, they line up and they love what I do, and you hate it, and I get it. I'll take the hits all the time when it comes necessary to condemning you for your actions. But I'm speaking to you very clearly now. You don't matter to your fellow cop. You never did. You never will. And I know how a lot of people say not all. Yes, motherfucking all of you, myself included, for a time being. I want to talk about how we have a disease in law enforcement, and I'm going to expose some stuff I've never talked about, stuff that actually took me nearly a decade to get through, that a phone call today rehashed up, and I went, I have to address this. I have to put this out there, because hopefully it will change your behavior, and it will course correct you if you're the fucking scumbag who does this behavior. Now, I want to talk about my story. When I first announced I ran for sheriff. Well, actually, I'll back up for a second. 2 days ago, I got a DM from somebody. I do not know who he is, where he's at. And he had said he was struggling because he went through some stuff with his department, and he's retired, and he's ashamed to admit his status because he's technically not collecting a pension, but he put in the time, and other cops are shitting on him, calling himself a retired cop, which I've noticed. I've noticed that in law enforcement, people think that all cops, citizens, think that they do 20 years, retire, get a pension. The ratio to cops who actually leave 5 years on, 3 years on, 10 years on, to those who do 20, it's insane. The 20 years is a rarity. It doesn't happen that often. But we somehow think that a cop is only a cop if they work in an urban city like Chicago, New York, LA, and they do the 20 years. Number one, I want to tell you, it's imperative that if you're on the job, you do your job focused on the citizenry and your name, because your name is tied to integrity. Officer Tim Mitzvin, Sergeant Tim Mitzvin, he was a mentor of mine, and he told, it was my first week on the job in 2001. I met the man for the first time, and the words out of his mouth that I actually adopted and just it changed my perception on life was, integrity is everything. Integrity is everything. That's why when it comes down to my content, every single person knows my dirt, my dirty laundry, my shortcomings, you name it. I've never hid any of them. But you're going to sit there and be attacked on those. And I want you to just think that when you're doing your job, when you get the double shotgun barrel, which is from the citizens, command staff, and then triples out your brother in blue that you thought was going to be there for you, it's going to affect you. I want you to keep your head on straight, because you are obligated to serving the public at the best of your capability, and you are going to be held down non-stop by your own, which is going to affect your service to them. This is Val Ojeda, and I want to talk about this for a second. This is how the beginning of the unbelievable ruthlessness of police supporters and cops just turn on other cops in a heartbeat. I never experienced this. You could pause this and read this. This was a man who was a member of the Republican Party out here in Illinois, and he had offered to run my campaign. And you could see in this first one here, this was May 4th. This was 2018. Be sure to support Dominick Izzo on his path to become Cook County Sheriff. He's the real deal, a lifetime cop that is not a politician but a public servant that still knows how to do. In these times, Chicago has become a war zone. He goes on to give accolades supporting me. Well, when I could not afford Val's fee, charged me $5,000. I didn't have it. I didn't know how to do the campaign, any of this stuff. It immediately turned. And you can see right here, his bottom one here, better sleep with your eyes open. Good luck, Izzo, spreading lies. Too bad you don't sleep at your mommy's house anymore. Your sister still lives there, right? You can pause these and read these. This is a photo where he is standing over Senator Tammy Duckworth. If you know Senator Tammy Duckworth, she doesn't have her legs. She's a fucking war hero. Regardless of her political affiliation, she's done more for this country than I have, and he's mocking her. Sleep with your eyes wide open tonight. You want to do this? Let's do this. I'm going to put you on blast. Calling my mother a whore. Saying it's time to dox my mother a whore who frequented Planned Parenthood. I'd never experienced this before. Now, this man was not law enforcement, but he had his finger on the pulse of law enforcement. He was arrested. There was a lot more to this that I actually had him arrested for because he had threatened to come to our house and damage my property. But the point being is I'd never fucking experienced this before. And this was from the Republican Party. Conservatives. Remember, everyone wants to blame liberals. No, you conservatives are dirty scumbags too. I put this up to set the tone of what when you decide to better yourself as a cop in law enforcement, it could be you go for a specialty position, you want to go for brass, you want to serve the public better, you had better arm yourself to the teeth and be prepared to deal with these kind of attacks that are going to affect your mental health, which is ultimately going to affect you. I'm going to talk about people over the last several years who've been in law enforcement, who were a danger to the community, who I dealt with, simply because I want you to see what I dealt with, because I know many of you are going through this now.
Just wanted to do a quick video, for the stupid person, the child sitting at the adult table. See, I do symposiums and seminars all across the country. Obviously, you've never been to one because it's for cops only. But when you're hosting an event, especially when it's an important one, like, I don't know, running for an office, it's always good that you proofread, have somebody with an education prepare it, and know exactly where you're having your event. Spelling it right and all that. It's actually really important. See, that's exactly why you'll never make office, because you're a dumb fuck. As a matter of fact, you probably need instructions to wipe your ass. I mean, after you look at the map and use a flashlight to find it. You're a dumb fuck. You'll never beat me. You'll never be better than me, and you'll never make it. And it's got nothing to do with ego. It's got to do with the fact that you have no experience. You have no morals. You have no integrity. And above all, you don't, never did, and never will have warrior ethos. Look up the word. It'll help you out. I'll give you a few minutes. Good time to pause, dummy. Listen, as you can tell by the back of my car, this is not an Ubermobile. It's a vehicle I paid for, along with my mortgage. You wouldn't know about that because you, mommy, and daddy filed for bankruptcy and got bankruptcy protection on your house. Listen, everything about you is a joke. You're a joke. You understand that? Anytime you want to come in on one of my seminars and you want to bring your stupid manager and your fucking retard team with you, I'll teach you guys how to run a campaign. So far, I don't know. I've ran at least a half a dozen with great success. Learn what you're doing, kid. Then come to the adult table and we'll talk.
Now, I've been waiting years for this one. This is David Chianese. He's a retired New York City Police Department, NYPD. He retired at 39 years old. Simply says on his bio that he retired because of conditions on the job. Never explained why. Now, you heard in the video, I will never beat David. I'll never be better than him. He's a national figure in law enforcement, giving symposiums and all this kind of stuff. And, well, this was 2018, and now at 2025, I kind of want to point out the importance. Remember, David talked about spelling and everything else. David, we had a relationship before this. We would come on each other's content when podcasts first really became a thing. What I was told, I didn't know this behind the scenes, the person who was running my campaign reached out to David because he was the one, after seeing Val Ojeda's content, he started attacking left and right. And we were like, David, you're friends. What happened? And he simply said, Izzo stopped advertising my content on his stuff. And he took that as an end of the friendship. So it is 2025, David. I want to see what you're doing now, just to show the people out in law enforcement, those who do attack you, those with the biggest mouths, those with the biggest pull. Sometimes they may outlast you, and they may continue their career may continue to bolster and flourish, while yours does dwindle off, and you shouldn't be worried about that. Well, it has been several years later, and David ran LESMA. It's what used to stand for, was it Law Enforcement Media Accountability, I believe it was. And he did a bunch of videos on me at the time to prevent me from becoming sheriff. He actually started a Facebook page where he would recruit other cops. I mean, across the nation. It was incredible. It was anyone but Izzo for sheriff. And it was some of the most vile shit I've ever experienced. I appreciate it when people run for office and they're attacked personally, because if you've never experienced that, if you ever plan on running for office, get ready. Every fucking lie will be made up about you. It's insane. You're a coke addict, you're gay, you've been seen doing X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So David pioneered that, and I couldn't understand. I just never understood why. He was a retired cop at 39 years old, never said why. Personally, I think he had a mental health breakdown or he couldn't do the job, but I never wanted to slander him on that, right? Because I just didn't know. But you heard him. He was going to outlast. He could do better. He's better than me. Well, currently today, David runs a car coating company, and he's nowhere in law enforcement. And this is what he does. So, okay, I'll plug you, David. Think you could use it. LAC Liquid Armor Coatings. All right. I want to be fair about stuff. You're over in New York. Great. So I guess I didn't outlast you, but I want to point this out. I know I'm being petty, but man, motherfucker, does this feel good to know that you were a piece of shit scumbag who was all about brotherhood, and you apparently were all about backing the blue, but when somebody was trying to improve themselves, you sought to attack them openly nonstop. And remember, spelling is really important. This was a retired New York police officer who boasted himself with accolades of being just a stud on the fucking job. And he was on things like Live PD doing segments and whatnot, right? He was the cat's ass. I'm pounding this home for you guys who are cops who DM me talking shit about how hard you have it with your brothers, telling you, integrity, character, and loyalty are the only fucking things that matter. And as long as your character and integrity and your loyalty for others holds true, you will be fine. Take a look for yourself. Pause and read. David's all about spelling. You can't read any of these. Here's a retired New York police officer who doxed me, put my family's home up where my 10-year-old female niece, juvenile, was living, and this grown man says, need to pay a visit here. He talks about other people. There's no way is okay, but let me be clear, this bitch has earned her name on it. David talked about how several of my exes and my old partners and my clients are all ready to talk, and he's going to do a video about me. Well, he never did. The point being is, I suffered and my family suffered. The man made up. This was a cop. This was somebody who was supposed to have integrity, made up lies about my father, my mother, who went online talking about the whore my sister was because she had a child and she wasn't married at the time. This man openly attacked people who had nothing to do with him. And the point being is, you have to start thinking, if this is what cops are like with their own, what will they do to the citizens they swore to protect? We have a massive mental health crisis in law enforcement, and we have far too many psychos with badges. But hey, David, good to see you. If I ever need my car ceramitized or whatever the fuck it is, I'm not coming to you. But I'm glad you're doing so well in law enforcement, right? Shame I didn't outlast you and I never beat you. And people you wouldn't expect to shit all over you, shit all over you. This is a primary reason why I never celebrate dead police officers who killed in line of duty or otherwise on my content, because you don't know the character of them. These are two police officers. This is Heather Hardy. I don't know if she's still with Chicago Police Department, and her late husband, Joseph Paglia. Joe and I met each other. We knew each other. We boxed in the Super Cop boxing tournament. I beat his ass. Knocked him out, but that's that. He never would give me the videotape of that. He's the one who recorded, but he would never let me have it. But Joe, when Joe found out I was running for sheriff, for some strange fucking reason, something happened where he all of a sudden jumped on this bandwagon, and he was calling me out for shit that he wouldn't acknowledge I backed up. You got fired. Yeah, it's a pending, this and that, blah, blah. Let me explain this. You did this. And I couldn't understand it. Somebody that I thought I had a good relationship with, somebody that I respected, especially as a combatant warrior in a boxing ring, was just fucking shitting on me. And then his Chicago police officer wife jumped in. Not only was she on the forum nonstop, never met me. Izzo did this. Izzo's crazy. Izzo looks like he's on drugs. Izzo's clearly this and that. She emailed a letter to the company that I was a part of. I own 50,000 shares in a company called Mobile Spike. Well, she made sure to use her position as an active police officer. She was very public online. She worked with Chicago police to spread not to do business. She threatened the company to drop me if they were going to continue to have me as an ambassador for them. They didn't. And I couldn't believe this. I emailed her. Why are you doing this? This is my living, and it's because I was speaking out against female cops. I did go to COPA. I filed a complaint. Apparently, COPA doesn't give a shit if Chicago PD goes after people and threatens their account. Remember, these are all also people. Heather is an open Christian, an open fucking Christian, and she's a conservative who voted for Trump, who, if you don't agree with them, they want your livelihood gone. Didn't matter to them. Didn't matter to them. If they're willing to do this to somebody they don't like, what are they going to do or not do to citizens when it comes to serving them? Now, I'm not going to lie. Joe was killed in a motorcycle accident in 2020, and I fucking cheered the day I found out he died, because that man was a scumbag piece of shit who I would never celebrate as a police officer. Fuck him. I don't care. I'm glad she's widowed. This is where my hatred for the Brotherhood and how truly laughable it is when people say we're fucking family. No, you're not. Cops come together at funerals, and that's it. They come together for another look at me. I'm going to put the black bar on my badge shit just so I can have some solidarity and make it about me. Again, Christians, conservatives, police officers. I could not understand why I was going through what I was going through. And you will too. Make sure it doesn't affect you. Make sure you do not fucking take this out on any citizen that you serve and you swore an oath to protect. It was across the country. It was cops I never met before. This is Jackie Person. Never knew this woman at all. But it speaks to the mental health of people who are females and cops who are involved in trauma. Now remember, David Chianese, he wound up retiring at 39 years old. What trauma caused him to be so unhinged and attack other cops and God knows what else when he was a police officer? But you can look. Jackie Person shot and killed someone on duty. It caused her to retire. After she moved on, she went on a game show or some reality show where she was on a life draft with some professional athlete for a while, and that didn't pan out. But she is driven by kindness I have to offer others, while my religious and spiritual beliefs are tested to become closer to God. I do not spread hate. I believe all religions are peaceful and should coexist. That is what I tell myself. Then let's get back to it. It's not happening. There are people driven by hate. There are people who will slyly slide in and attack when they least expect. Start looking at the broader picture here. Well, these are a couple of emails, because Jackie was extremely active on that page as well too. She doesn't express hate, right? Seriously, she's talking about an ex of mine that I was dating at the time. This gonzo, big bitch, ugly nose bitch. Does she have a dick? Because we all know you like dick, and I see a bulge. You are the laughing stock of all police departments. Everyone knows you set up those cameras by yourself. Crybaby. You, Dominick Izzo, are not a man. You were never a police officer. You don't have anything to show for your pathetic 44 years of existence but a fake camera case, 2 terminations from good departments, 1 for hiding from a call, and another for making a mockery of citizens, multiple sex attacks on women, including myself, multiple good, fantastic... Do you get it? Because if I was involved in any type of sex attacks or I was fired from more than one department, all this stuff would be public. It would be out there. If women who are cops, who get in traumatic incidents and shoot and kill people, are willing to do this and lie and slander and do, what will they do to you? And what will they do to other citizens? And how will this fucking affect you? Or you need to start seeing, I'm painting a picture of what specifically happened to me so you understand there's no fucking blue brotherhood. And when you hear shit about other cops, think for yourself. Do your own research. Ask the questions and ask yourself, am I guiltless and could this shit happen to me as well too? And it never stops. This is Deputy Catherine Ribka. She was on Live PD. Pew Pew Goddess is her Instagram. Frank Sloop's girlfriend. It is what it is, right? Kathleen Cat Pew Pew Goddess was obsessed with me for the longest time. And you could pause. You can read these DMs she sent me. This is a fucking active police officer who brings up the fact I invited her on a podcast. And when she doesn't like the direction the conversation is going, she's threatening to expose my graphic sexed messages. Read these. Read these. It's insane what she posts. And this is a female who is supposed to be above reproach in law enforcement. Above reproach. She's got the receipts. All the stuff that I'm into. And I've asked myself, of course, she blocked me after she lost the debate, an argument in this, and she's threatened, civil recourse. My question is, if this is an active police officer who's dating one of the most famous, well-known police officers in America right now, Fridays with Frank, she's a representative of him. They work at the same agency. There was also under Sheriff Mark Lamb, so it falls under him as well. If this woman is willing to take third-party, intimate sext messages that apparently I sent another consenting adult and blast them online, what is she willing to do to a victim of a sexual assault? What female is ever safe with her coming to her saying, I was raped, I was this, I was that? And will Deputy Ribka, Pew Pew Goddess, will she take the personal private information and leverage it for her own gain? Again, this is the shit you will go through when you try to better yourself or the profession of law enforcement. You're not safe. You're not safe. But how it will affect you is the question. What she did, when she did this to me, it made me go, all right, I'm going to go and do everything public about all of my shit. And it's up online. Again, the link is in the description of the video I did talking about everything. But I couldn't understand still. Never met this woman. I think I did 2 podcasts with Frank. He was a nice guy, class act. I liked him. I disagreed with how he talked to people online. On the street, we talked about that. I was very candid and blunt and asked him how he viewed about that. And nothing at all. And when I brought this up to Frank's attention, he blocked me. So again, there is no blue brotherhood. No blue brotherhood. It should have been Frank's responsibility to look at his girlfriend and say, you're representing me. You're a cop. This is completely unbecoming and unethical. But again, these are the people that you say you have a brotherhood with. These are the people out there that we're entrusting with badges and guns and the authority to take away your freedom and your fucking life, who are willing to expose your most vulnerable side for their own personal gain or victory. You're going to deal with it, and you'll survive it. You'll go through it. You need to remember that, and don't let it affect your service to others. Now, you're going to get people who are still active today in the law enforcement world that are going to continue to act all high and righteous. And you know what? They need to be exposed and condemned too. I've talked about them before. I did a content on police law news. If you are actively following police law news, ask him, why he's so good at exposing bad law enforcement, but he does not talk about his own alleged case of being involved in a corrupt DUI scandal. Cash for DUIs. Ask him why he was allegedly fired for sexual harassment of a stripper after arresting her boyfriend. They won't talk about this shit. They'll act all high and righteous and mighty and act shit on everybody else trying to improve themselves, but they won't. So when you're coming out to discern proper law enforcement content, make sure you ask the shysters out there who are lying about themselves or not giving their own information out there while trying to expose others. There is no blue brotherhood. Now that brings me to you. Heroed out. Kyle. Now here's the deal. This was personal today. Today I got a couple of people that I consider to be friends now, because there's very, very, very few friends in the law enforcement circle that we have who were talking and frustrated about the fact that we have people that are trying to spread lies and rumors about them, which makes me laugh because it took years not to have knots in my stomach, years to be able to sleep, years to go, holy shit, how could people do this to me that I thought were like aligned in the same mission that I was, right? No, wasn't. So I'm doing for others what I had wished someone would have done for me before. This is Heroed Out. It is a Instagram page, 11,000 followers. And Heroed Out, the owner of this, Kyle, was DMing me earlier during the year, just messaging me some stuff. And I had shared some stuff back and forth. And, hey, look at this, brother. And when I stopped responding, next thing you know, he's got screenshots of some of my very graphic sext messages that he's putting up in his stories. Well, they came from Pew Pew Goddess, because that's that circle, right? Cops don't only hate you, they find other cops to hate you and spread about. Didn't bother me. I really couldn't give a shit anymore. I've talked about all the shit that is out there. But I blocked him, right? I blocked him. Well, he's turning his sights now on some other people that I give a shit about. If you actually go to his Heroed Out page, he shits all over police. Now, I shit all over police, but it's with a solution. It's because I fucking believe in you. I believe if you actually see the shit you're doing, the shit I did, the stuff that I know I'm a hypocrite over, but motherfucker, I wish somebody would have mentored me and said, don't do this, focus on your career, focus serving, I would have still been a cop. I would have still been a cop. But I fucked around too much. It's as simple as that. My content is to shit all over bad cops, not to get rid of them, but to get them to change their behavior and actually bring integrity and a shine to their badge. But he's all on here, and he's shit. There's some people who are in this that I know. Mike from Copville, Tyler from Antihero, and he's clearly obsessed with them. And I've heard the rumors and the lies that you're spreading, and you're doxing information with people. You think that it's funny to put up conversations between you and other businesses like you're putting out there. I don't know what the point of this is. You're taking sponsors from other places and shitting all over them. That's fine. You're allowed to do that, as long as you come clean about your shit. Make sure that if you're going to lead the charge to attack other cops, you are not without sin yourself. Volusia Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs Report of Investigation, report number IA 21-004, August 1st, 2020 through May 18th, 2021. Date reported April 9th, 2021. Subject's name, Lieutenant Kyle Bainbridge, badge 7391. On April 14th, 2021, Sergeant David Barnes authored a supervisor inquiry regarding possible allegations of sexual harassment between Lieutenant Kyle Bainbridge and a subordinate, Deputy Alicia Baldwin. In this inquiry, Sergeant Barnes indicated that on April 9th, 2021, Deputy Baldwin notified him that Lieutenant Bainbridge, the owner of Heroed Out, which is actually spelled Herod Out on Instagram, had been seen, sending her inappropriate, unwanted messages of sexual advances via various social media platforms and through text messages. In addition, Deputy Baldwin advised Lieutenant Bainbridge that was using her automatic vehicle locator to determine where she was and to drive to her locations and attempt to speak to her. That inquiry advised Deputy Baldwin was concerned about possible retaliation against her by Lieutenant Bainbridge due to Lieutenant Bainbridge's position as watch commander with the agency. Additionally, on April 12th, 2021, while speaking to Deputy Lindsay Matuzak about an unrelated matter, Sergeant Barnes learned Lieutenant Bainbridge had allegedly been sending similar unwanted and inappropriate messages to an unknown female officer of the Daytona Beach Shores Public Safety Department. Glass houses, motherfucker. Glass houses. See, this is what you do when you get your pants caught down, right? You're sexually harassing several females. You're acting as you're high and mighty. What you do when you actually don't want to be spotted or recognized is that you actually change your look so nobody can identify you. Remember that, Kyle. You're all about doxing cops and doxing other people you don't agree with and exposing all their shit. We need to remind you that if you're going to do that, hold yourself accountable. When you get caught harassing women that you work with in a supervisory position, basically a sexual predator, that's borderline rape. Sexual predator as a cop makes me wonder if you're willing to do that to people that you work with, that you're in a position of power over, what will you do to domestic battery victims on scene? How many times? This is what you do. You change your look, right? You change your look, and then you act all high and mighty and righteous by exposing other cops, so you'll take the pressure off of you. You create a Facebook, Instagram, social media page, heroed out, so you'll take the light off of you. But let's put the light back on you. The question is, Kyle, is when you were on duty, should the government look into how many people you went and served domestic battery calls on, and then you went back later on to serve paperwork, domestic battery issues, and say, this is the programs we have for you, and you tried to flirt your way in to the fucking bedroom of the victim? How many women did you pull over in your career and advance on sexual favors in order to get them out of their tickets? You are a fucking predator, and people don't change. People don't change. You want to talk about sexual proclivities. You want to talk about other people's that you're featuring on your content, and you want to expose them. Stick with me. I don't have a family. I have nothing to lose. Expose me all you want because I've been exposed before and I'll own up to my shit. But you're a predator. We need to look at you. If you're going after someone else and you're going to be an advocate for law enforcement change, admit the fact that you are a dangerous sexual predator who has used and abused his authority to get what he wants from women. You are a rapist. That is a rapist. End of story. So I want to point out, for those of you who are still on patrol, you're going to come across scumbags like this. Scumbags who still have some semblance of influence online that are going to attack you. And you can't let them. You can't let them. You got to power through. You're going to get the pew-pew goddesses out there that you flirt with, in which I didn't. I would have. She's fucking hot, but it is what it is. She's crazy, clearly. Frank, good job. But you're going to get the people out there that you thought you did business with, right? That you aligned with. The David Chianises out there. The Jackies out there. The fucking Chicago cops. The Niles cops. All these people who you think that they have their best interests in mind. They don't. There's no goddamn blue Brotherhood. There's psychotic cops who shoot people on duty and have to retire. There's psychotic cops who have a breakdown and retire at 39 years old and then open some kind of cop business when they can't handle it. There's psychotic cops who ride off the dick of their YouTube star boyfriends and they can't fucking handle it. There's psychotic cops who are rapists, who are clearly, if you send unwanted sexual advanced content. I've never been accused of sexual harassment. Even the one with my department, which I openly talk about, was completely bullshit and unfounded. So I'll just say this. If you provide or force on unwanted sexual advances on someone else, you're a rapist, Kyle. It's as simple as that. So we have rapists. We have failed Chicago police officers who can't make it on their own, who are fat and miserable and they have to threaten your income. And we have guys who are just pieces of shit who die in motorcycle accidents, and I'm fucking happy for it. The bottom line is, I hate the profession. And I'm so passionate about changing it because I never thought it was going to be this way. I didn't think it was supposed to be this. I didn't see this coming. It is the worst profession in the world that's supposed to be the best. Supposed to be the most righteous, supposed to be the most incredibly integrity-based business, but cops are the worst fucking human beings on the planet. Yes, all of you. All of us. I'm not a cop anymore, but I was one of the biggest scumbags out there. And we could change as long as we're aware of it. And nobody wants to talk about this stuff. So today, again, got a phone call. Somebody sent me that video. It triggered a lot of shit. And this was a purge because I don't want any of you to go through what I went through because it was fucking hell. It was fucking hell. But I survived it. And you will too. Make sure you never take it out on any citizen ever that you ever work for. And make sure you never, ever do it to one of your fucking coworkers. If you have a problem, take a look in the mirror. It's your own goddamn fault. So it's as simple as that. But people like Police Law News, own your shit. Speak out. Talk about the stripper you harassed. Talk about the fact you fuck. Why'd you arrest her boyfriend and go after her? What was the pay-for-play DUI scam that you were just ousted for? Why? And then Kyle, you're going to continue to do police stuff like this. Talk about the fact that you're a fucking sexual predator. You want to go after other people? Don't. Stick with fucking me. And I'll make sure that everyone who winds up tying their name to you knows exactly who you are. It's as simple as that. Guys, be safe out there. Do not be the fucking problem in law enforcement like these cancerous scumbags that I just fucking spoke about.